Well, here we go. The next and final race is about to get underway. It is the senior category, the OK group, making their way out onto the circuit. And what a weekend it has been for them. An absolutely dominant performance by just one driver, Alex Powell, who starts this one on a pole position. And a reminder of all of the karts as well. We'll go through the grids and the championship itself. But you've got to remember the senior category, 14 years plus in this one, 125cc unrestricted OK engine, approximately 40 brake horsepower, using the MG tyres this weekend, and of course providing the fuel P1 throughout the entire weekend, have provided everything that we have needed to get this final underway. The final itself and the championship, the updated championship standings, will be very, very interesting. But of course, across the course of this weekend, it has been a very tough one. The senior category, now Powell leads it going into this final. 153 championship points from Gabriel Gomez's 124. So they change through. Gomez goes from 4th to 2nd in the point standings. Nakamura-Berta, who was leading going into this weekend, drops down to 3rd in the championship with 118 points. So only a handful of points in it. But, of course, that's going to be an interesting one. So keep a close eye on that one. Koski and Turney, they also move up. Joe Turney now moving himself up into 4th in the championship. Remember, he has won all of the finals so far this year. Can he win a 3rd at Rødby? That's going to be the biggest question. Joe Turney starts this one on the 2nd row in P4. It is highly probable that he could do this. So let's find out as drivers get themselves ready to get going. There on your screen, Alex Powell for Prema Racing. He starts this one on pole position. It was an absolutely dominant performance over the course of the weekend. 4 of his qualifying heats were wins. 1 was a 2nd. The only person to beat him so far this weekend has been Kean Nakamura-Berta. Unfortunately for Kean, he starts this one a little further down the order. He starts all the way in P12 on the 6th row of the grid. It's got a long way to go if he wants to beat his teammate Powell again. Gomez starts alongside another driver who's had a pretty decent weekend. His worst result's been 2nd place throughout the entirety of it. There he is on your screen. The Brazilian running under the Italian flag this weekend and for this season. He gets himself ready to get going. He was dominant at Trinech in the last round. Can he replicate that this weekend as he gets himself primed and ready to go? The 251 starting on the outside row. Starting on the inside row. Powell has chosen to go to the outside line for this one. You can see him there on the right-hand side of your screen at the start of this one. The 2nd row behind, Arthur Poulain starting in 3rd place. The French driver who put it on pole in qualifying. He starts this one on the 2nd row in P3. The Frenchman who has, again, had a very good weekend. Up and down the order, he has certainly been one to keep an eye on as this weekend has happened. But what can he do from that 2nd row? He'll have the inside line. Will the inside line work, or will the outside row come into favour? We'll find out when the race gets underway in a few moments' time. Joe Turney starts alongside the British driver who won the championship last year for the United Kingdom. He has had a good weekend. He had 3 2nd places, a win and a 3rd. He qualified 5th. His best qualifying results of the season so far. He has been really nowhere in the qualifying heats in the first 2 rounds. He's won both the finals, which is why he sat in 6th place in the championship going into this weekend. Now going into the final, he's moved up to 4th in the championship, only a couple of points behind Kean Nakamura-Berta for 3rd. If he can get another win in this one, it would certainly help his championship fight out. What can he do from there? Ian Eichmann goes from the 3rd row. He's on the inside row again on position 5. The Belgian driver again has had a very, very good weekend so far in this weekend. The points that he has accumulated, he got 11 through the qualifying heats, and he got 15 in the super heats as well. His best result so far this season, before this weekend, was Valencia, where he got 3 points and 6 points for the qualifying heats and super heats. So he scored absolutely nothing at Trinech. Eichmann sits 15th in the points standing, so this will certainly help out his championship fight. He sits there with 35 championship points to his name at the halfway point of this season. Thomas Strauven starts alongside, and again, Thomas has had a very interesting weekend as well, because he has also been further down the order. His best result as well this weekend. 13 points for both the qualifying heats and the super heats. His best score previously was only 4 qualifying heat points in Valencia. He did score 5 points altogether in Turney, but this weekend certainly shows that he has got what it takes to see what he can do from that starting spot of P6, but he's 16th in the championship standings. Matheus Morgado, the Brazilian, the world champion, 7th place on that 4th row of the grid. Again, has had a tough season so far. Didn't take part in, I think, in the first round. Scored only 8 points at Turney, and this weekend he's scored 9 points in the qualifying heats and then 11 points in the super heats as well. He has certainly had a tricky run this year. Fionn Maclaughlin starting alongside in P8. The Irishman, again, has had an up and down weekend, but for this one so far, he has done exactly what he has needed to do. He's certainly come back through the field. He sits currently in 9th in the championship standings after he has gained 15 points in the qualifying heats and only 9 in the super heats. He sits 9th with 50 championship points. If he takes a race win, of course, that's 30 points added to him. He'll go up to 80, so he'll like that indeed. He might go up the order into a couple of positions, so it is very close there. Enzo Tarvanichkul, well, what can we say here? Because what a weekend it's been. Not great in the qualifying heat, not too great in the super heats, only 6 and 7 points, but he sits in 9th place on the 5th row. He has got a lot of work to do with him. His best weekend was the Valencia round, the first weekend of the season. Turney did not go his way, not scoring highly. He sits 11th in the points classifications with 48 championship points. David Walther in 10th place for this one, the 2-3-3. Again, another driver who has had a very interesting weekend. He took a race win earlier on in the weekend. We thought, he's looking quite strong throughout the entirety of it. But it didn't go his way for the second half of the day, only coming away with 5 championship points in the qualifying heats and 6 in the super heats. He sits 12th in the championship standings going into this final with just 44 race points or championship points. His best weekend, again, was Valencia, the first round of the championship. Let's see what he can do. The whistle blows as Martin, being our race director, looks over the starting grid as the 1-minute board gets shown and we get ready to get going racing in this final. Vera Virtanen back in the commentary box with me. Vera, again, we saw great things from the juniors. Seniors, what are we going to think? Can anyone beat Alex Powell?
I would have to say, yeah, Gabriel Gomez and Joe Turney. That's my best guess.
Well, yeah, I think your guesses are pretty good there, to be fair, because like we were saying, Joe Turney has won every final so far this year. I'm sure he will not want to break that streak, and he's got the best run here. He's starting right behind Alex Powell because he's switched sides of the grid, so he's going to have a great run going in towards turn 1. But again, that inside line, it worked out in the junior final. Drummond took the lead, didn't he? Because Canthan swapped sides, it didn't work out. So this time around going into this one, that might be quite interesting. Whistle blows, we get ready. The OK final is about to get underway. 36 drivers whittled down from many, many more as we go racing. 36 drivers, here we go with the grid. Alex Powell and Gabriel Gomez go from the front row. Arthur Poulain and Joe Turney, the French and British row 2, go from there. Ian Ickmans and Thomas Strauven and all Belgian row 3, they go ahead of Matheus Morgado and Fionn Maclaughlin on row 4. Enzo Tarvanichkul and David Walther round out the top 10, with Lucas Samalisto and Kean Nakamura-Berta going from P12. Kryl Kutzkoff and Thomas Stoltamanis round out the 7th row of the grid, with René Lammers and Jan Prostrovsky on row 8. Nathan Ty and Antonio Kavalkin, they go from row 9 with Javier Avramidis and Jules Caranta rounding out the top 20. Gustav Vanevsky and Luigi Coluccio from Len Neisch and Matteo Kulnagi. Sebastiano Pavan and Joel Bergström go from row 13. Miguel Costa and Martin Molnar from Wampu Chu and Mark Dubnitsky, Keanu Blum and Maximilian Popov on row 16. Nacho Tunion and Senna van Wolstein from Magic Gladys and Gazi Motlika rounding out to the 36 drivers about to do battle around this 1,200-metre circuit. Round 3 at Rødby has certainly been an exciting one. A lot of these drivers will be back here in a couple of weeks' time as well for the Europeans, but for this weekend, for Champions of the Future, it has certainly been an eye-opener for a lot of these drivers. And again, we talk about predictions as the carts whiz past the commentary box. The noise, the smell, certainly getting my blood pumping. I'm sure it is at home as well for the people at the side of the track. Again, we talk about prediction on that one, but the championship going into this one, 30 race points. It's certainly made it interesting. Alex Powell has certainly come alive in this second half of the season, hasn't he?
Yeah, he surely has. And now that Kean and Nakamura-Berta are starting a little bit more back, then Alex really has a chance now to take the championship lead for good.
Well, there's a kart that's not going any further. It is the 268 for the Birle ART team has come to a stop in the pit lane. He's not coming to park firmly, so the mechanic can work on the kart to see if we can try and get it going. But at the moment, the kart's coming round the final corner, and that might be all she wrote because he's not going to get going. And you can see there, your man Gary is over it. Darren's come over as well. Two of our finest of the scrutineers, but the karts make their way into the final corner. He is working on the spark plug there, isn't he? That could be game over before it's even started. Well,
that's unfortunate for Bergstrom. He had a good weekend so far.
He did indeed. Well, here we go then for the final time this weekend. It's the senior category. Okay, about to get underway. Alex Powell, Gabriel Gomez. Who will get the jump off the line? Into the tram lines, the revs raise. Final time is go, and it's a great start from the two of them as Gomez holds the inside line. But look at that coming through as a spin, and off the track goes some of the chaos.
That's Strauven.
It is Strauven who's off the track.
And is it Eichmans as well?
I think so. We'll find out as they go through the next timing beam who has not come through. But crucially, at the start of that one, Gomez holds on to the race lead. Powell still there in second. Joe Turney still there in third as they sort themselves out. Turney going for the move here on Powell, and Powell has to concede it through turn number 6 into the braking zone of turn 7 and off the track and running. And that is a disaster for, Strauven, who's off the track, and he's not kept going, and that is a disaster. There's another car off as well just outside the commentary box window, and it's the 244 that's gone around. Jan Piotrowski, oh, what a disaster for him.
It's not been a good weekend so far, and now this crowns it.
Really does. Gomez breaks away, 0.3 of a second, and off the track. Oh, Dubnitsky as well. He's had a terrible finals day today. Disaster in his superheats. He manages to get through into the final, but now the final all goes wrong as well.
Oh, but look where Kean Nakamura-Berta is, and that's David Walther.
Walter's out as well. What is going on in this final? He's got a problem with his airbox by the looks of it, as he's trying to reconnect it. Another disaster. David Walther, his mechanic's coming over to see if he needs a tool, and he runs back, but his race is over. He's going to be a lap down. He's never going to close back in, but what a disaster for him. Right, okay, so let's clarify. Who have we lost so far in this one? We've lost Strauven, we've lost Walther, we've lost Piotrowski. Dubnitsky dropped down the order as well as Joel Bergstrom, who also dropped down.
And Eichmans.
Eichmans had a terrible start as well. So did Fionn Maclaughlin, so did René Lammers. They've all dropped down the order. So what a disaster for those drivers who have all tried to get a good start, but it's failed miserably.
But Kean Nakamura-Berta had an awesome start then. He's on a 4th place already.
He did, yeah. Nakamura-Berta already up into P4. This is a good running from himself, so getting a good run out of the corner. Gomez, Turney, Powell, Nakamura-Berta, Poulain is the current race order for the top 5. Morgato's there in 6th place from Tarvanechkul, who's also had a very good start. Krutzhoff and Samalisto. Vinevsky rounds out the top 10. There on your screen, tracking the whole grid, there is Vinevsky. He's got Avramidis just behind him as the rest of the field come through. This is a little further back in the order.
Yeah, that's Ian Eichmans already back in the group.
Yep, exactly. Caranta, you can see there. And he's got Wampuchu just behind him. So Caranta moving up into P12 now as they all go back across the start-finish line. The longest race this weekend, 25 laps. And Gomez controlling this race. Turney there will not want to lose out on another final win. Turney has done a brilliant job this weekend, his best qualifying result so far, and he is certainly showing why he is a champion. He's there in 2nd place, but the gap's extending, 0.4 of a second. Alex Powell, though, right on his rear bumper. Powell, dominant performance this weekend, a solid drive all weekend, and he looks like he's going to go for the move here into the final corner, and he does. Down the inside through the final corner. That is crucial, though, because Nakamura-Berta is going to have the best run here. He's going to get the slipstream between the two of them, and Turney now down into P3. Alex Powell holds onto it, doesn't go defensive straight away. Turney thinks against going for the move down the inside. because Nakamura-Berta is right there. Keep an eye on him as he's gained so many positions in this one. 8 places Nakamura-Berta has gained, and he sets the fastest lap of the race as well, 50.591. He will want to maintain that momentum and try and get past Turney sooner rather than later. Through they go in towards turn 8, down into the hairpin of turn 9, and he looks to the inside, down the inside through turn 9, using that banking to his advantage, and sweeps past Joe Turney, who himself did a fantastic overtake around the outside in his superheat earlier on this weekend. We might see that move again going into this final. But right now, he's again going to be under pressure because Arthur Poulain has now closed in. The French driver who put it on pole in qualifying, currently sitting in P5, is latching onto the back as Tarvanichkal dives down the inside of Morgato. And Morgato can't do anything about it. He can't defend the position. He slots in behind. He's going to have to be careful now because Kutzkov is just there behind in the DPK. Keep an eye out on Kutzkov. He's very quick. He knows how to pedal around this circuit. As Vinevsky now sets the fastest lap of the race. Vinevsky in P10 at the moment. Eyes on this though. Gomez, Powell, Nakamura-Berta. We were speaking to Powell and you spoke to him and he said, who's going to beat me? He didn't know, but Gomez is certainly showing he's got it.
Yeah, Gomez said after a superheat that he's happy that they get the new tires now because for him they were a little bit struggling with the used ones. So, yeah, Gabriel seems to be happy.
Yes, indeed. He looks very, very happy out there. Cool, calm, collected is down the inside now. Samalisto gets the move done. And he moves up past Mateusz Morgato. Morgato now under pressure from Vinevsky, who's going to go for the move here. And he does get the move here through turn number 5. Nicely done. So Morgato here just slowly creeping down the order here, now into P10. Avramidis just behind, not wanting to go for the move. The gap at the front has opened up 9/10 of a second. Powell is powerless here. He has not got the pace on these fresh tyres. His best lap is a 50.3. He changes that though, as he does a 50.1 this lap and actually takes a full 10th out of Gabriel Gomez. So now Powell, the tyres are starting to come in. Here's a replay at the start, and how on earth did we lose a few of our drivers? Because it was a very interesting start. As you saw Gomez instantly go to the lead, and there you can see it just absolutely sandwiched nowhere.
I think Eichmann's hit actually, who did he hit? Poulain a little bit, and then they collided into Strauven, and Strauven went full off.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was Poulain, I think, who had...
and Maclaughlin was also there.
Yeah, Maclaughlin went off as well. So it was, I think, initial contact with Arthur Poulain, who amazingly managed to get away with that one without losing too many positions because he's back there in P5. There's your race leader, Gabriel Gomez. The gap now, across the line, still 8/10 of a second. A little bit quicker from Powell as he dips into the 50.0s now. Gomez on exactly the same time. They're identical lap times between the two of them. Nakamura-Berta, though, sitting there in third, is not able to latch on to these two. He's going around, but his gap is also 8/10 of a second. He's about 1.6 off Gomez, so it's not going his way. Poulain here, though, it is going his way as he's latching on to the back of Joe Turney, who himself has fallen into 4th place now and is settled down. So the entire grid here looks like it has settled down. Here is a replay of Morgato. Yeah, that was Poulain getting through. And then a little bit later on as well, Tarvanichkal would also go through. So Morgato at this stage was just trying to find a piece of track that he could be happy with. And unfortunately, he couldn't find it. Samalisto and Kutzkov also went through as well. Yeah, so not the run that Morgato would want. He's there in P10. So Powell leads. Oh no, Powell's 2nd place. Here he is on your screen. Gomez leads, and now Gomez is dipping into the 49s, so 49.990. Very quick time, and again, it's just increasing that lead. Powell really can't do anything here. He is just trying to match the pace. This is what you get with the fresh tyres. You really start to show who had the right setup from the word go. And we thought that setup was actually going to Arthur Poulain because he put it on pole position in qualifying, but he wasn't able to maintain that across the course of the weekend. And what does that do to a driver, do you reckon, in terms of confidence going into the weekend? Do you feel like, I put it on pole, come into the racing, and we've been at the top, but we've just not been right at the sharp end? Does that really put a downer on a driver?
Yeah, of course it does a little bit, but then again, you have to have the the strength in your mind also to believe in yourself after that. But yeah, of course it dents it a little bit.
Going halfway into the season as well, and you think championship points become really crucial here. Poulain sits 6th in the champ standings, 19 points in both the qualifying heats and the super heats.
And here was the pass that Powell did on Turney, and here's the Nakamura's.
Yep. So again, Turney in the same boat here. He's won both of his finals, both at Valencia and Třinec in the Czech Republic. This time around, there on your screen, he currently sits in P4. So it's not going all his way in this one as we reach the halfway point of this race, and Turney just sticking with Nakamura-Berta, not going for the moves just yet, but he is setting the fastest lap of the race, 49.984. He's got the pace, so he knows he can do it. It's just trying to find the gap to get it done, because Turney does this. He is good at maintaining his tyres, controlling it, not wearing them too much, and really just trying to push his way through the field. But Nakamura-Berta has done exactly the same here. An up and down weekend for Nakamura-Berta. This time around, it's going well as he sits in 3rd place. And Gomez here just controlling the pace as he goes through in towards turn number 3. A nice fast lap on that last one. 50.0, his fastest 49.9.
And straight again, just throws in a purple sector 1.
Yeah, exactly. He is quite literally in the zone here, is Gabriel Gomez. And Turney back down the inside. So Joe Turney goes back down the inside of Nakamura-Berta, moves up into 3rd place. And Turney now is back on the charge as he hunts down Powell. Can he maintain that momentum? Now he's got the clean air. He has still got a full half a race to close that gap. There's Powell, there's Turney, there's Nakamura-Berta. Poulain is still there in 5th place from Tarvanechko, Kutskov, from Samalisto, Vinevsky, Morgato, Avramidis, Karanta, Popov, Kavalkin, and Wampuchu rounds out the top 15. Stogtamanis there in 16th. A busy old grid. Drivers that we've lost so far in this race. We've only lost 4. Joel Bergström, who I don't think got back out on track. Thomas Strauven, David Walter, Jan Petrovsky, all the retirements at the moment. Biggest movers so far in this race. Maximilian Popov currently up 19 positions. He sits in P13 at the moment. He has had a solid drive in this one. Keep a very close eye on him as he makes moves. As we keep watching Joe Turney for the United Kingdom make his way round the track.
Turney throws in, Turney does the fastest lap of the race so far now.
Yeah, he does. So that's just popped up on my timing screen as well, 49.897. It was 1/1000th of a second faster than his previous fastest time. Here is a replay of that overtake, and, well, that looked like Nakamura-Berta kind of left the door completely wide open there. I'm not sure if he could see Turney going for the move. Remember, Turney did go for a dive down into that corner on Thursday. It wasn't on the stream, but the move came from about 4 miles back down the inside. It didn't work, but it was certainly a good attempt, and I think Nakamura-Berta was just thinking, I remember him doing that. I think I'll avoid it this time, so yeah, gave that one up. There you can see he is closing in. Powell, though, after his solid performance, he's only finished 2nd once. He might finish 2nd twice here because Gomez is certainly not making it easy for him. 1 second now is the gap. It's opened up even more. And Turney, his gap is 1.2 seconds to Powell. So he is closing that gap up, and Nakamura-Berta is just kind of staying there, latching onto the back of him. He's going to wait, I think, for Turney to go for a move if he gets close enough, see if he can close in. The battle behind, still very close, actually. Poulain and Tarvanechko, because Tarvanechko has latched onto the back of Arthur Poulain. The gap very close there. You can see that battle happening just behind this one, as the battles still rage on.
And Poulain dropped a little bit back now from Nakamura-Berta and Joe Turney.
Yeah, and he's actually pulled away from Tarvinichkul. Here's Samalisto and Gustafanevski. This is the battle for 8th place. And Gustafanevski just wanting to find a way through here. He has had a pretty good weekend. Vinevski currently in the points standings. A little further down, he's 20th in the points standings. He scored his first championship points actually at Turney as well, 6 points. He has scored no points so far at Rødby, so he sits quite far down the order with just 12 championship points. Vinevski would like to score a couple more, I think, in this one. So with where he's sitting, he certainly would gain 1 or 2 more championship points. But to get past Samalisto would be very good, as he would gain 1 or 2 more. You can see he's tucking right in there behind Samalisto. There is a headwind. It's a very light headwind, I will stress. So I don't think the slipstream's going to have much effect here.
No, and also, as you can see, Samalisto, I think one of the tallest guys in the grid. And yeah, Wisniewski is not very short, so that's 2 guys who actually I would put my head down all the time. Anyway.
Yeah, they're both cutting a huge hole in the air, aren't they, as they go down the start-finish straight. There is Arthur Poulain, who currently sits just in front of these two. He's got Tarvinichkul, Kutskov between him and this battle here of Lucas Samalisto and Gustafanevski. No one going for the move just yet. Across the entirety of the board, the top 10 go through without a change. So everyone is just in their rhythm now and doing what they need to do. In terms of championship points, Powell would be leading them with 179 still, despite the fact that Gomez would get the full 30 points in this one. He would sit second in the championship standings with 154 from Nakamura-Berta, Turney. Poulain has put himself up in front of Prusrovsky. He's put himself in P5 in the championship with 104 versus the 93 from Prusrovsky. Obviously, he's out of this race, is Jan Prusrovsky, so he can't do anything about defending that. So, yes, Poulain gaining points on this one. But at the moment, the top drivers in this one, again, no real changes. Here's a replay at the start again. And again, look at that. Such a good start there from Turney. And Turney nearly around the outside of everyone. But Strauven, just in that mid-pack there, the contact, Eichmanns and Poulain. And just, it was so bad for Fionn Maclaughlin, who just had nowhere to go. And he just had to get back on the circuit. Very lucky for Strauven not to go over. And as you can see, tried to get it done, and he started to climb up the bank to get out the way. I don't think that way would have worked, but he's got a prime viewing spot there. As he was then later told, no, you can't sit there, you've got to come to the marshal post. Oh dear.
Joe Turney.
Oh no, Joe Turney, who was sitting in 3rd place, has stopped at the side of the circuit. What a disaster. His best qualifying result this weekend ends with a breakdown in the final. He will not get the chance to win his 3rd final of the season, and this will go down as one of the better but worst weekends he's had. Well, what a disaster for Joe Turney. He is out of this race, and that promotes Kean Nakamura-Berta up back onto the podium in P3. What happened to Turney? There he is. And it just stops. It just stops. And that is just heartbreaking for the British driver. After such a good weekend. And he looks down at the engine and thinks, what happened? Well, a disaster for the Brit, but the race goes on as only a few more laps remain. As we watch here, Tarvinichkul latch onto the back of Arthur Poulain. This is the battle for P4 on your screens. Kutskov's still there as well. He's ready to pick up the pieces if any happen.
He's had a good weekend.
He has had a good weekend. He's certainly proven he's got the skill around the track. Currently sits 30th in the championship, though. He scored his first championship points this weekend. 1 and 3, he has 4 championship points. So this result here would certainly booster his performance in the championship, but he's got a long way to go in this one. And down the inside goes Tarvin Ichkel, and Poulain, you saw him go for the move and then had to avoid to stop any collisions, and now Kutskov has latched onto the back bumper as they go in towards turn number 1. And my goodness, how on earth did Poulain hold on to that one, because down the inside now goes Kutskov and gets it done. Poulain losing 2 positions in the space of 2 corners. And Tarvin Ichkel there was going full send down the inside into the final corner. Full commitment there.
Yeah, you heard me gasp because I did not see that coming. I was so surprised.
Yes, I think a lot of people were as well. And I mean, what a move it was. But that shows why he is one of the Red Bull Junior drivers, and he is certainly showing why he deserves that spot. And he is certainly driving the wheels off that kart. But Kutskov is still all over that rear bumper. He has closed right in. He'll have the slipstream here down the start-finish straight, but he's not going to have enough momentum to get down the inside at turn 1. He may go for it in turn 2 or 3. No, not close enough yet. Gomez's lead, now 1.5 seconds as we go on to the penultimate lap of the race.
But how do you like this now, Anthony? It's Gomez with DRG, and then it's Prema at the moment.
It is indeed. I'm sure Prema are liking this one with Poulain and Nakamura-Berta and Tarvin Ichkel all line astern. Prema will be very happy with this one. I'm sure if you go on to ukart.io and you look up the most successful teams this weekend, I'm sure Prema are going to be somewhere up there at the top. But Kutskov has got something to say about that as they go on to the final lap of the race. Here we go then. Gomez leads by 1.7 seconds to Alex Powell and Kean Nakamura-Berta. The top 3 fairly spread out. But Gabriel Gomez this weekend, it was a good weekend. He's had wins and he's had seconds. He didn't qualify too well. It was good, but he came through in the qualifying heats to do his level best. This man here did have a perfect weekend. 4 of his qualifying heats were wins. He had 1 second and he dominated his pre-final. We spoke to him and he said, can anyone beat you? I don't know. But this man here on your screen, he could beat him. Gabriel Gomez for Brazil comes out of the final corner for CRG. Round 3 is done and dusted for the Brazilian. He wins round 3 at Rødby in the Champions of the Future. Gabriel Gomez, by 1.3 seconds at the end, takes the win. And he will extend his lead into the championship. 154 points from Powell's 179. He eats another gap out of Powell's lead as they go to Cremona in Italy next. What is going to happen in this championship? Gabriel Gomez, who unfortunately for himself is under the Italian license, meaning he will have to listen to the Italian national anthem on the podium. But he represents Brazil, and there, the passion with his teammate as they go through. Matteo Kolnagi doing a good job. Domnitsky, not so well. He dropped way down the order. So CRG dominating the entire field, really. One at the top.
Like the normal Gomez drive, you know.
Yeah.
Perfect, smooth, no mistakes,
yep.
fast. That's Gabriel.
That is Gomez in a nutshell. The provisional classifications at the end of that one. Gabriel Gomez takes the win for CRG from Alex Powell, Kean Nakamura-Berta, Enzo Tarvin Ichkel, Kirill Kutskov, Arthur Poulain, Lucas Amalisto, and Gustav Winevsky. Mateus Morgato and Jules Caranta finishing in the top 10. The podium's taking place very soon. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in just a moment's time.
A fantastic weekend, and Gabriel Gomez will celebrate another
victory in a karting weekend. The trophy presentations now with Kean Nakamura-Berta receiving his third place trophy from James Gardner from RGMC. A beautiful weekend, and he can be delighted with finishing on the podium. Alex Powell receiving his second place trophy, now taking the lead of the championship, finishes in second place. And Gabriel Gomez, with his first final win of the season in the Champions of the Future, takes the first place trophy and a brilliant result. And finally, the team trophy to Andrea Teresco, and he'll be delighted with that one and the CRG team. We now get the photos for the drivers, so get yourself all huddled up nicely. Nice big smiles for all the camera crews. And as you enjoy your trophy spots there, if we all get up the top spot as well, guys, squeeze up together. And nice big smiles, trophies in hand, as the photos get taken until the next bit that we will enjoy in just a moment's time, as we get ready for the final part of the weekend, and probably the best part for the drivers who get ready to end this weekend in style. The champagne comes out in 3, 2, 1, champagne! And Gabriel Gomez, his bottle doesn't work, and he gets absolutely drenched. But what a weekend for our top 3 drivers. Gabriel Gomez, Alex Powell, and Kean Nakamura-Berta. Let's quickly jump in with Gabriel Gomez, who is finishing his chat. I don't want to interrupt, chaps. You're having a good conversation. Gabriel, the camera's just over on this side. Stay with me. Don't run away. Well, what a weekend that was. We were all worried about Alex's pace over the course of this weekend, and we wondered who was going to beat him. Yourself, it came through. Gabriel Gomez, what a drive, what a weekend.
Yeah, we do a great week. We were missing a little bit in the last days, but we work a little bit more for today to find the gap Powell have. He was a little bit faster than us. He have a little bit of gap, but today we work a lot to do, and I do the perfect start, and then later was only my pace, 0 mistakes, and then do a brilliant victory.
Yeah. You move up second into the championship now. You eke a little bit more of a gap out of Alex Powell's lead. Going into the second half of the season, do you feel confident that you could take this one?
I think we are good in the championship now. Only in the first round in Valencia we miss a little bit, but the next 2 rounds we do a really good job, and now we will try to get Powell in the lead.
Cremona's next. Are you looking forward to the track? Are you familiar with the layout?
Yes, I like the track. It's a little bit difficult with the asphalt. We struggle a little bit in the start, but we work to this. And then now we're looking the European in 2 weeks.
Well, solid drive here at Rødby. Congratulations. You come away with the victory. Gabriel Gomez, well done.
Thank you.
Excellent stuff there for CRG. Gabriel Gomez will take his trophy spot and will end the weekend on a high. That brings us to the end of the round here for Champions of the Future, round 3 at Rødby. There is only 2 more rounds to go as we head to Italy, both in Cremona and in Franciacorta at the end of the season. Stay with us, but what a weekend it's been. We'll see you in Italy.